everybody, welcome back to Clues by Sam. It is the start of the week, so a good day to play your first Clues by Sam if you've never played before, as it is an easy one. And if you don't know what it is a daily logic puzzle game where there are 20 people on a board. Each of them is either a criminal or an innocent, and you gotta figure out what they are using the clues that they themselves might give you. And we are doing this here every day. There is bonus puzzles that come to your email if you subscribe to the newsletter, and on Mondays we do the hardest one of the bonus ones. So we're also doing the evil one from last week today. If you're interested in seeing that after we finish this one, I'm going to start this one now and explain my logic as I go if you need any help with the mechanics. Let's start. We start with Noah telling us that exactly 2 instances to the right of Gus are neighboring Isaac. There's 3 people to the right of Gus. One of them is Isaac himself, so the other 2 have to be the innocents that neighbor Isaac. So both Jerry and Hazel are innocents in this case. And now Jerry says that Isaac is one of Olga's 3 innocent neighbors. So Isaac himself is also an innocent, and where's Olga? Olga already has 3 innocent neighbors, Isaac, Jerry, and Noah. So the other 2 that she has are criminals. And now we don't need Jerry's clue anymore. Isaac now says that row 5 is the only row with exactly 1 criminal. So where's row 5? Row 5 is down here. There's no people revealed that yet in that row, but row 2 has 3 people who are innocents, and if the last person in that row were to be a criminal, then row 2 would also have exactly 1 criminal. So Gus couldn't be a criminal. He has to be an innocent as well. We're gonna leave Isaac's clue there. Gus says that 2 of the 3 singers have an innocent directly to the right of them. So where are all the singers? We have 2 of them here, and the third one is Saga, who has a criminal to their right. So the other 2 have to have innocents to their right so that they abide by the clue. And now Vera says there is only 1 innocent to the right of Phil. Well, that can only be Ruby. So I guess we don't need that clue anymore. And Ruby says that only one of the 6 innocents neighboring Saga is Zayed's neighbor. Ziad has 3 people neighboring them, so one of them is an innocent, and that can only be Wally. What else does the clue say? 6 innocents neighboring Saga. So Saga has 4 so far. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Saga has 5 so far, which means that either Olga or Ziad himself is the last innocent neighbor for Saga. What else? Wally says that there are exactly 2 innocents above them. So there's 2 innocents already. That's Isaac and Noah, which means that Eric is not one of those. And Eric says there's an odd number of innocents in column D. Well, we're gonna have 2. Because we have Jerry already, and Olga or Zia are gonna be the second one. That's an even number, so we need the third one, who could only be Freya. Freya now says that both instances above Uma are connected. Where's Uma? Well, the second instant above Uma besides Gus has to be connected to Gus, so it's either Anna or Karen. And the other person who's above Uma is Phil, and they are not connected to Gus, so they couldn't be an innocent. Now, Phil says that each column has at least 3 innocents. Column. Well, column A has 2 innocents, just like column D had. Gus, and it's gonna have a second one who's either Anna or Karen, so the third innocent in that column has to be Uma. Now, I guess I don't need that clue anymore. But we know that row 5 has 1 criminal. That's what Isaac said. So Ziad has to be a criminal, which makes Olga an innocent. And now we know that Karen isn't a criminal, otherwise row 3 would also have only 1 criminal, so Karen has to be an innocent, which makes Anna a criminal. And now Karen says that only 1 row has exactly 1 innocent, and that row is row 4, so that makes row 1 have to have a second innocent, who can only be Donald. So Donald is our last person, and we are done with the easy one for today in 3:18. Is that a new record? I think so. And so far, only 50% had a perfect solve. That's a low number. I think I'm doing this earlier in the day, so that's probably contributing to that. We're now going to be jumping into the evil one from last week's newsletter, so the bonus one from February 16th. So I saw that Sam themselves said that this one should keep us occupied for a while, so I'm kind of afraid of how well I'm gonna do in this, but let's see. I'm gonna restart the timer just so we can get it right. And Amy says that only one of the 2 instances below Henry is Kummer's neighbor. So below Henry, there's 3 people, and 2 of them also neighbor Kummer. So only one of those is an innocent, and the second innocent below Henry has to be the person that's not neighboring Kummer, so Zach, right? And now Zach says there are exactly 2 innocents in between Betsy and Petra. In between Betsy and Petra, there is 2 people total, so both of those have to be innocents. And we don't need Zach's anymore. Now, Flora says that only one of the 6 innocents neighboring Gus is above... Oh. Somebody else, somebody corrected me on this yesterday, so let me credit the person that said this. Okay, so Sing Zian was kind enough to explain to me that this name, which I often pronounce Zaya, is a Chinese name and is supposed to be pronounced as, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna keep butchering this probably, but I think it's supposed to be pronounced Xia, so Xia. And I really appreciate that you did tell me that, because I love learning, and I especially love learning about different cultures, and I accept that often I'm gonna butcher this name, so I would love to know if you guys could tell me if I'm saying that right or not. So thank you so much for telling me about this, and I'm gonna try to pronounce it right from now on, but I can't promise that I'm gonna get it perfect every time. So Xia is the person that has only one of the 6 innocents neighboring Gus above them. So Gus himself is above that person, and Gus has 2 people neighboring him who are also above Xia, and one of them only is an innocent. Oh, let's use the orange tag. What else do we get from that clue? That Gus has 6 innocents total. So 2 of them are already here, Flora and Jose. The third one is either going to be Kummer or Celia, right? So there's 3 more that we have to find. Jose now says there are more innocents in column B than column D. Ooh, how do I do that now? Column B has 2 innocents already, and column D is gonna have 2 innocents. So Zach is the first one. The second one is either gonna be Uma or Logan. And that means that which column has the most? Column B. So that means that column B has to have at least 3. But the thing is, Gus needs 3 more innocents neighboring him, right? Let's say that those 3 are here in column D. Is there a way now for column B to have more instances than column D? 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 instances in column B. How many instances are... Oh, Betsy would have to be a criminal, because now Gus has all the 6 instances that he needs. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to pause. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so now Gus has all the instances that he needs in column D, so that's why Betsy is a criminal. And now that this is the scenario, how many instances could column B have, even if everybody else in that column were innocents? 4, right? So both columns have the same number of innocents in this scenario. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that can't be it. At least one of the instances that Gus has should not be in column D. Let's say that's Henry, and move up to column B so that Betsy could be an innocent. Now, if that column has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instances, column D has 1, 2, 3. So that means that column B has to have at least 4 instances, right? And 2 of the instances that neighbor Gus on column D are gonna be up here, because there's nowhere else for them to be. But Betsy for sure has to be an instant. Now, we don't know about these guys yet. Betsy now says that exactly 2 instances in row 4 are neighboring Kummer. Row 4. Okay. 2 instances in row 4. Neighbor Kummer. Kumar is in row 3. So there's 3 people neighboring him in row 4, which means that at least 2 of them, we know that 2 of them are Insens. Let's say that both of them are Petra and Rose. That'll make Uma a criminal and Logan an Insen, right? What does that tell me? I guess it doesn't tell me anything. That one of these guys here is a criminal and the other one is an Insen, because Gus needs 2 Insens neighboring him in column D. Can we try making Petra a criminal and Uma an Insen? Now Logan is a criminal. And both of these guys up here are Insen, so that Gus can have his 6 total. Do I know anything else that I should remember? I don't think so. Because now we have, now we have 4 Insens in column D. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we can have at most 4 Insens in column B. Because even if Wanda is an Insen, there's 4 in column B, so that's the same number in both columns. So this couldn't happen. Could Rose be a criminal and Petra an Insen? That could happen. Because now there's more 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's more Insens in column B than column D, so this can happen. But the thing is that we couldn't have Petra be a criminal. That's a scenario that doesn't work. Petra has to always be one of the Insens that neighbors Kumar. Even if Uma is, because we saw that Uma being an Insen works, right? This works. 1, 2, 3, even if Wanda is not. So we don't know about Wanda, but we know about Petra being an Insen. Okay. I was not sure about that. Petra now says there's an odd number of Insens neighboring Zach. Oh, we know that Rose and Uma are one or the other now. Petra says there's an odd number of Insens neighboring Zach. So one of these guys here is an Insen. The other one, there couldn't be a second one because Zach has 3 Insens total. So in column or in row 4, Zach's gonna have 1 Insen neighbor, which means that the third person in the other row couldn't be an Insen. Because if that was so, then Zach would have 2 Insen neighbors, and that's an even number. So Tia has to be a criminal. It hurt itself in its confusion. Now Shia says there's an odd number of criminals neighboring Uma. Well, Uma has 1 criminal neighbor already. Is she gonna have any others? Oh yeah, the clue's talking about criminals. I am getting so confused in this one. Only one of the 6 I think it's the pressure from it being a hard evil. A hard evil is a good concept. Only one of the 6 is neighboring Gus. That's okay. That's okay. There's 4 Insens in column B now. So that means that column D could have 4 Insens if Wanda is an Insen as well. Did I dismiss a clue that I shouldn't? There's not a number of Insens there in Zach. We know that for sure. It's gonna be 1 here. Can I try to make Uma? Because the clue talks about criminals. Can I try to make Uma an Insen and Rose a criminal? Now Uma has 2 criminal neighbors. So that means that she needs a third one who's either gonna be Logan or Kumar. And Logan is gonna be a criminal. Because Uma herself is an Insen. That makes Kumar an Insen, right? So that Uma can keep an odd number of criminals. which would make Celia a criminal, but that doesn't matter. If Uma, on the other hand, were an innocent, that will make Logan a criminal. And because she is one or the other with Rose, that will make Rose a criminal as well. And now she has a 3. Isn't that what I did before? I think it is. If Uma were a criminal, that will make Rose an innocent and Logan innocent. And that will make Kumar an innocent as well, because if Kumar were to be an innocent, then Uma would have an even number of criminals neighboring her. Is that correct? These are one or the other. These are one or the other. Why are these one or the other? Because of Kumar. People below Henry. So Uma has to be a criminal? No, that's not what I said. Kumar has to be an innocent in any of the scenarios. And that makes Celia a criminal. And we keep these two as one or the other because that interferes with this relationship. Okay, we have 2 new clues. Celia saying that only one column has exactly 5 innocents. It has to be column B. And Kumar is saying that only one person in column A has exactly 2 criminal neighbors. In column A? Well, Amy couldn't have 2 criminal neighbors. Eric couldn't have 2 criminal neighbors because both of these people only have 1 neighbor left who could be a criminal. Ike has 2 people who could be criminals and neighbor him. And Vince has 2 people who could be criminals and neighbor him. Oh, Noah could also have 2 criminals neighbor him. So how does that work? How does that work? Have we read this clue? Yeah. Only one person in column A has exactly 2 criminal neighbors, and only one column has exactly 5 innocents. If it is in column B, there's no column that could have 5 innocents. Because if Wanda is a criminal, what is the column that's going to have 5 innocents? It would have to be column A, because column D has to have less innocents than column D. Column D has to have less innocents than column B. And column B has 4. If column A were to have 5 innocents, because it's the only column that could, then nobody in column A has 2 criminal neighbors, right? Not Vince, not Noah, not Ike. So it has to be column B, the one that has 5 innocents. Oh my god. And now Vince couldn't be the person that has 2 criminals neighboring him. So it's either Noah or Ike. Now, Wanda says there are more instances in row 3 than row 4. We know that row 4, it's gonna have at least 2 instances. And row 3 already has 2 instances. If Uma were to be an innocent, that will make Logan a criminal and Rose a criminal as well. Now both columns have the same, and in that case, row 3 would have to have 1 more innocent, while row 4 has a criminal to make more. And that makes Eric the second criminal in column A, so that Ike could have 2 criminals neighboring him, because Noah couldn't have 2. If Uma were to be... Let me clean the text before I do this so I don't get lost. If Uma were to be an innocent, that will make Rose a criminal and Logan... That's the scenario I tried before. If Uma were a criminal, that will make Rose an innocent and Logan an innocent. And now there's no way for column... Oh, are we talking about row 4? Row 3 already has more innocents than row 4. But I could have to be... Would it? If Noah were an innocent, I could have to be an innocent. And now there's no way either of these guys has 2 criminals neighboring them. Oh my god, I feel like I'm doing such a poor job at explaining my logic in this one. But we're getting that. It's just gotta... I'm gonna try to talk more slowly. we tried one of the scenarios. Let's go back. Let's go back and be patient. If Uma were a criminal, right? These two would be innocents. Now, in this scenario, Jose, Kumar, and Logan are all three in row 3, and they are all innocents, and row 4, which has to have less innocents than row 3, does have less because there's only 2 innocents in this row. So it's either both of these guys are innocents so that we keep that ratio, or both of them are criminals so that we keep that ratio. If Noah is an innocent as well and Ike is a criminal, that will make these two have the same number of innocents. If Noah were a criminal and Ike an innocent, of course now row 3 has more innocents than row 4, so that works. So what did we learn? Good question. We learned that Eric is always a criminal. Did we? Because if both of these guys are criminals, well, Noah could still have 2 criminal neighbors if Eric is not. If both of these guys are innocents, then nobody could have 2 criminal neighbors. So it's either Noah is a criminal and Ike an innocent, and then Ike's the person that has 2 criminal neighbors, or, and we know that both of them couldn't be innocent because if that were the case, then nobody has, in column A, 2 criminal neighbors. So I know that Noah is always a criminal because it's either both of them are criminals or just Noah and Ike is an innocent. I don't feel confident, but I was right. Now Noah says there are 8 innocents on the edges. I'm suffering. We know now for sure. Or do we? Do we know for sure? Because if Ike and Vince are both criminals, Noah could have 2 criminal neighbors in column A. And if Eric is an innocent, then Ike wouldn't be that person, and that works with that logic. So we have to count the total of innocents on the edges. How many do we have so far? 1, 2, 3. Those are the revealed ones. We're gonna have one more here. So let's say that's Henry. If Henry were to be a criminal, that will make Logan an innocent, and Uma a criminal, Rose an innocent. Now, how many do we have in total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the other 3 people would have to be criminals to make a total of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But now there's 2 people in column A that have 2 criminals neighboring them, which breaks somebody's school. Kumar's. So it all comes down to Logan not being an innocent. Because if Logan is an innocent, let me clear the tags first so I don't get confused as I've been doing. If Logan is an innocent, if Logan is a criminal, that will make Uma an innocent, Rose criminal. And now these 2 are gonna be innocents. But now there's no way. There's no way to have 8 innocent criminals on the edges. Oh, the clue is talking about innocents. And I've been counting criminals and you didn't tell me anything. Why are you watching this? Why didn't you tell me? You gotta shout louder. Okay, let's count innocents on the edges. 1, 2, 3, 4 so far, the revealed ones. We're gonna have 2 more here. So let's say that one of them is Logan, the second one is Henry, and Deborah is then the criminal that Gus needs. Because of Logan, now Uma is a criminal, which makes Rose an innocent, right? And how many innocents do we have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the edges. So we need 2 more. And that would work here. Because, well, I could have to be one of them, and then Vince would have to be the second one, and Eric a criminal, so that Ike's the person that has 2 criminal neighbors. Because if Ike is a criminal, then Noah would have to be the person that has 2 criminal neighbors. And that puts more criminals than we need on the edges. Or it could be the opposite. It could be that Ike's the person that has 2 criminal neighbors. But anyway, we can't have that many criminals on the edges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, this way we only have 7 innocents on the edges. So we couldn't have Logan be an innocent. That's the conclusion. I'm getting tired. Logan is a criminal. That makes Uma an innocent, Rose a criminal. And these 2 guys innocents. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now we only need an 8th person who is an innocent here. And it would have to be Ike. Because row 4 has 2 innocents and row 3 has 2 innocents. So Ike has to be the 3rd one. And now it couldn't be Noah that has 2 criminals neighboring him in column A. So yeah, Vince is a criminal, but Ike has 2 criminals neighboring him. So that's almost all of the puzzle solved. How many instances do we have now on the edges? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that works. Let me try to make everything work so that I know that I'm sure with this. Because this solves a lot of people. So 8 instances on the edges, that works for Noah. I don't need this anymore. More instances in column B than column D. We are done with this. More instances in row 3 than row 4. Yeah, there's 3 here and 2 here. 1 person in column A has exactly 2 criminal neighbors. That's Ike. Noah doesn't have 2. And an odd number of criminals neighbor. Yeah, that's correct. 3. And Gus has 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that works for everybody. Am I confident about that? Nope. There are 8 innocents on the edges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I make Uma a criminal and Logan an innocent, that works as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. Vince could be an innocent. And then we would have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So where should I be looking? Where should I be looking? Who am I sure is gonna be? Because these guys could change. Henry and Deborah could change if these guys could change. Like if I switch these 2 up, it wouldn't make a difference. We have 8. Anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I like that when you get it wrong, it doesn't tell you what is wrong. It doesn't give you a hint right away. Like sometimes I think about Clues by Sam and I think about how I would like sometimes for it to allow me to do the whole board and then let me check just on the end if it's right or not. Because sometimes it becomes very clear when you do a guess and it's wrong, what you were wrong with. I would like for the whole puzzle to be answerable without telling me if I'm doing it right or not, and just check it at the end if it was right or not. Because that's more of a. I think that's the next step into solving stuff and evolving your confidence in your logic and how you're checking and how sure you are of everything that you're putting together. Maybe it could be something that is configurable, like I have the option for it to not tell me when I do something wrong. And if people don't want to play like that, then they don't put that option. But anyway, I'm digressing so much. Sorry about that. 2 days is gonna be so long. So long. Eric. Are we sure that Ike is a person in this column? Because if we make Ike a criminal and Eric an innocent, does that work for Noah having 2 criminals? How many instances do we have on the edges now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That doesn't work. We need 2 instances in column A besides Amy, because let's try a different approach to this. We have Betsy and Wanda. Those are 2 instances on the edges, right? In column B, we know for sure how many instances we are gonna have. Do we not? Uma could be an innocent and Logan a criminal. And that will make column D have 1, 2, 3, 4 instances. If Uma were a criminal and Logan and Rose innocents, then that will make column D have 1, 2, 3 instances. So I was wrong in my assumption. 3. If it has 3, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, if it has 3, there's no way for it to have an 8th. Unless these 2 are switched. I'm not sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Who's always the same? Who? There's an odd number of criminals neighboring Uma. Yeah. I don't need that clue anymore. I'm gonna go through all of them again, just to double check. So only one of the 2 instances below Henry is Kumar's neighbor. 2 instances are below Henry. That's for sure. There's no way of there not being 2 instances below Henry. 2 instances in row 4 are neighboring Kumar. Yeah, that's for sure as well. Petra and somebody else here. Only one column has exactly 5 instances. There's no way any other columns besides column 2 has 5 instances. Only one of the 6 instances neighboring guests is above Shia. 6 instances neighboring guests are gonna be right here. And the one that's above Shia is Kumar. Jose, There are more instances in column B than column B. There's for sure gonna be. Only one person in column A has exactly 2 criminal neighbors. There's no way for a person in column A to not have 2 criminal neighbors. There are 8 instances on the edges. Or is there? How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And Ike has 2 criminal neighbors. So this scenario works. There's a non-number of instances in ring Zach. There is gonna be. There's no way there isn't. There is more instances in row 3 than row 4. There is gonna be either 4 in row 3 and 2 in row 4, or 2 in row 4 and 3 in row 3. There's a non-number of criminals named There is gonna be. There's no way there isn't. There are exactly 2 instances in between Betsy and Petra. That's the first clue. So am I looking at the start of the week kicking my butt? These are supposed to be made on the weekends. Okay. Solved on the weekends. Sorry. Vince. If I switch these guys up, Uma is innocent and both Logan and Rose are criminals. How many do we have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. But somebody here is gonna be an innocent as well. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Which means that this couldn't be. Vance would have to be a criminal. Or Eric. Or Ike. One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you were Eric, if you were Vince that were a criminal, then this doesn't work. 1, 2. It works. Noah doesn't have 2 criminal neighbors. Ike has 2 criminal neighbors. But if Vince were an innocent and Ike criminal, Noah doesn't have 2 criminal neighbors. But Ike does. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 innocents on the edges. Is Eric always a criminal? Is that what we're trying to get at? I'ma erase all of the tags and try to make Eric an innocent. If Eric is an innocent, we know that the person that has to have 2 criminal neighbors is Noah. And if that is the case, then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 innocents on the edges, which means that we need 3 more. And that will make Uma an innocent and Henry and Deborah innocents as well. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 innocents on the edges. So Eric could be an innocent. I think I'm missing something completely obvious. And I don't even remember what the last thing I tried was. Okay. This is simply incredible. Simply incredible. Can we try making Ike an innocent? If Ike's an innocent, Eric has to be a criminal. And Vince Is Vince always an innocent? Is Vince always an innocent? Because if I make Vince a criminal, we know that what do we know? These two are one or the other. Is that what we know? Because it couldn't be that both of them are. Either Ike's an innocent, and then Ike's the person with two criminals they bring him in column A, or Ike's a criminal, and then Noah is the person with two criminals in column A. Now, how many instances we have on the edges? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we could have 3 more here. If Vance is an innocent, Eric has to be a criminal. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we could have 3 more here. But if we... Can we make Ike criminal? If Ike's a criminal, we know that Logan has to be an innocent, right? Have I been walking around this all this time and only now I notice this? I'm gonna go insane. So if Ike is a criminal, we know that Logan has to be an innocent. Why? Because row 4 is for sure gonna have 2 innocents, and we need more than that in row 3. So we need a third innocent. If Ike is not a third innocent, Logan would have to be. And Logan being an innocent makes a criminal, which makes Rose an innocent. And Logan being a criminal makes somebody else up here an innocent and the other person a criminal, so that Gus can have his last criminal neighbor. How many instances do we have on the edges now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many people in column A have 2 criminal neighbors? Only Ike, but it doesn't matter because we don't have the total innocents. On the edges, Ike has to be an innocent. This is torture. Now, we know for sure that Noah is not the person in column A who's gonna have 2 criminals neighboring him, which means that Ike has to be the person, which makes Eric a criminal. Now, Ike says there's an equal number of innocents in columns A and C. What does that even mean? How many innocents do we have on the edges now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can have at most 3 more here. But the thing is, this puzzle is more than evil. More than evil. I'm just frustrated. If Uma is an innocent, that makes Logan a criminal. And that's okay. Oh, sorry. Because there's still more innocents in row 3 than row 4. But Logan being a criminal makes both Henry and Deborah innocents. And now, how many innocents do we have on the edges? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with Vince. So Vince is an innocent. And we would need 3 innocents in column A. We do have 3 innocents in column A. We would need 3 innocents in column C. But there's no way for us to have 3 innocents in column C. Even if Gus is an innocent, there's only 2. So, nope, that doesn't work. If Uma is a criminal and these 2 are innocents, that will make somebody else here a criminal. And now how many innocents do we have on the edges? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which means that Vance has to be an innocent in any of these scenarios here. And Gus being an instant as well makes column C and column A both have the same number of instants. So Vence is an instant. Have I not just proved that Vence is an instant in any scenario? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If it's the opposite. I swear I'm going crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Did I miscount before? And this works. Gus is always in the instant. You are watching a descent into madness. There are more instances in row 1 and row 4. We know that row 4 has 2 instances, so row 1 has to have more than that, which means that Deborah is an instant for sure. Now Deborah says there are more criminals in row 4 than row 5. There's 2 criminals in row 4, so there's none. There's only 1 in row 5, so Vence is an instant as well. I'm not on fire. Shut up. Shut up. Now Henry and Logan are one or the other. How many instances do we have? On the edges, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we need only one more. It has to be Logan. How long was that? Oh my god. The pain. I'm gonna have a coffee. And I hope something happened with me in this video. I don't know what we learned. If anyone made it all the way to the end, I had longer videos than these. But yeah, the yellows, traumatizing. This one was traumatizing. I love it. And I'll leave this here for today. I hope you enjoyed this. Next time, try to yell a little louder so that I can get it while you're yelling at me. And I'll see you tomorrow for a simpler Goals by Sam. Bye bye.